Hi. First, I'd like to apologize for my long hiatus of posting on the blog. Turns out that it's kind of hard to blog when you don't have internet, and we did not have any internet at Jameson Camp where we stayed all of spring break, which was now 2 weeks ago. But I would like to still catch you guys up on what we did all of break, starting from our first day of serious service. Our first day, we volunteered at the Gleaners Food Bank, and I like to say that I was very impressed with that organization. Not only do they do a lot of good for the community, but as a business major, I was very interested by their business model and how they were able to be so efficient with their overhead and with their resources, yet move thousands of pounds of food to the neighboring communities that need it. And our role with Gleaners was to help in their warehouse packaging and categorizing food. And in the 8 hours that we were there, we moved thousands, and I mean thousands of pounds of food for the people that needed it. And that was very fulfilling. It was hard work and it was a long day, but knowing that we saved the firm thousands of dollars and that we fed so many people was really soul enriching. Kind of keeping with the motif of food, the next activity on our first day in Indianapolis was to go to Walmart and to pool dollar bills in groups of three. So each group had $3 to see how many calories we could buy with such little money. And that was a very eye opening exercise because my group found out that you really can't buy much of anything with $3. Our strategy to buy the most calories caloric meal that day was to buy 3 packages of butter. That was definitely very caloric, but it wasn't healthy, and that was the same with all the foods that we looked at. I'm a pretty big health nut and like to stay fit, and I was determined to buy some healthy, good foods, but turns out you can't even buy a large container of Quaker Oats oatmeal for under $3, and that was very wow to me that even if you wanted to, you really couldn't buy healthy food. Our second day, we went to the Stopover House. Now, what Stopover House is, it's a transitional shelter for children that are in abusive situations. They can come to the house and stay for a couple of weeks, and the shelter helps them get settled, work through their situations, and give them the best resources possible. And what we did at Stopover House was to kind of beautify the outside of the house. We raked leaves, trimmed bushes, fixed some flower beds, and really did a lot of work. And a lot of that work was done side by side with one of the residents there. And what shocked me was that he was like every other kid his age. He wanted to listen to his iPod and play with his cell phone and listen to his music really loud. And it was amazing how you don't really see what poverty and homeless is until you're face to face with it, and it kind of shattered all the stereotypes that I had about what a homeless person is or what a poor person is. And on a very interesting note, that day we got to eat at one of the best diners in Indianapolis, one that was featured in Diners, Dive-Ins, and Drives. Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. I'm sorry. And it was delicious, although I'll have to say that Iowa still makes a better pork tenderloin. The next day after that, our third day in Indianapolis, we went to the Dayspring Center. And I have to say that the Dayspring Center was by far my favorite day. Dayspring Center is a church-sponsored shelter for families and children. The caveat is that you can only stay there if you have a child and you are their guardian. So grandparents with children, brothers with their younger siblings, single parent homes, nope, two parent homes, whatever, they don't discriminate. Then they just try to help and make sure that the children have a warm place to sleep and a good meal in the day. And what we did at Dayspring was to organize their closets and their storage facilities, which to some might not seem like a lot, but our group organized a huge storage room and a couple closets for diapers and other toiletries in a day. And we were a crew of 15. I could only imagine how the the little staff that they have would have fared, and we saved them probably days of work. And what made it really special for me was the fact that we were helping out children. I have a little sister, as you all know, and I could not imagine her being in the situation that some of these children are in. In fact, when we were sorting the clothes and I came up into really little baby gloves, I was heartbroken that somebody so small would have to go through so much adversity at such a young age, and really made me appreciate what I have and really define what I consider my civic identity to be. And I know now that work with children is something that really appeals to me when it comes to service. After the Day Spring Center, we went over to the Shepherd Community Center down on Washington Street in Indianapolis, and we had the wonderful chance to receive a tour of all of Indianapolis and to go through certain historic neighborhoods in the city, and that was very enlightening. It was really amazing to learn from a very well versed man. I believe he was a minister with Shepherd, about all the economic and legal and governmental factors that went into making Indianapolis what it was. It starting all the way from the railroad to the blockbusting. It was just, it seemed to be that Indianapolis didn't become poor because it failed. It kind of it was set up like that. Certain circumstances happened due to racism or greed that made neighborhoods less appealing and let them fall into decay. But the hopeful part was that lots of these neighborhoods are sparking back up again. It's taken some very strong-willed individuals who are committed to investing in their communities and staying in their communities to kind of revive the Indianapolis downtown area. And it's a very wonderful city. In fact, I recommended my brother look at houses in downtown Indianapolis rather than the suburbs as he plans his move to Indiana. The last day, that Friday, we went back to Shepherd Center and did some service. This time we had really fun opportunity to tear down a playhouse with a sledgehammer, and I'm not gonna lie, that was a great time. But unfortunate timing when the kiddos came out during recess and asked us where their dollhouse was going. Luckily, we had some very clever saves and told them that the fairy godmother would bring back a new one, so they wouldn't get splinters and stub their toes and whatnot. And that experience was, again, really fun for me because I got to play with the children during recess and kind of monkey around with them and see how much we were doing to affect the next generation. After we got done volunteering at Shepherd, we had our cultural day around Indianapolis. We first went to the Indianapolis 500 Museum and got to see the Brickyard, which I thought was really, really cool. Got to go on the track, not going quite so fast, probably like a good 25 miles per hour, but it was still nice to be on the asphalt. Then we went to Broad Ripple Village, which is a really happening part of town. It reminded me a lot of Iowa City, with a lot of outdoor restaurants and really fun and interesting people there, and I really enjoyed that one. I wish wish we could have spent more time there, and I think next time I go to Indiana, I'll make it a point to check out Broad Ripple Village. And we lastly ate at Fountain Square. Fountain Square is a historic neighborhood around Indianapolis that has been there for a very, very long time. Lots of great food, a very popular Cajun restaurant that was recommended to us, and also another Greek one. Unfortunately, due to our large group, we could not really sit at any restaurant. We got lucky finding a barbecue joint, and to my disappointment, I could not go eat the Peruvian food that was in Fountain Square. After that, we were pretty worn out, and we went back to our camp, and we had a get-together with UConn and Iowa State University, who are also staying at Jameson Camp, and who are also with their Greek communities doing a Greek-only service trip, and had a wonderful conversation with all of them, and got to learn about the service organization, Circle of Sisterhood, which was very interesting and very, very enlightful. So,